Yeah, my dear Virgo, the second time, Sun in Taurus, Moon in your sign. You're getting the light from Taurus, from an Earth sign like you, and he's behind you, and you are looking to the left, and you are exploring the inner world, the inner realms. And so Taurus is ruled by Venus. We're going to look into Venus, which is the Empress. And you are ruled by Mercury. And of course, Mercury is the magician. And Mercury is also ruling Gemini, which is in the next reading, then Sun in Gemini. So here we have the understanding that roots are important when we do something financially, and inner knowledge is important as well to be successful. And so here we have a movement in the yoga position, right? The pillars become the movement. And for you, we see the past and the future here in the present moment, and we recognize that everything is within us. So here, as you can see, we have Roman numbers. We have the 5, which is the Hierophant, and the 4, which is the Emperor. And calculated together, we get the 9. So the Hermit is put together with, of course, the 5 and the 4. But we could also use other number combinations to create a 9. But in the tradition of the Roman numbers, you always use the 5 and the 4. And so the Hierophant plays a major part in your life, and also the Emperor, the ruler, right? Ruling this world is not always that easy. Here in Salvador Dali's tarot looks the Hierophant like this. And we do see her also a triangle with the 3 people, right? This triangle is really important because that implies Venus, right? Venus is the triangle, Venus is the Trinity. And so in there we see the 3 people, and that's the reason. You are the Caballero de Oros, and as such you have here a white horse. Through Dali, normally you have a black horse. And so here they're facing each other, right? And is your birthday between August 13 and September 11, then is this your court card, and you have a lot of ideas. You're the 6th house of work and routine. You love routine, you love the same things, and you also love health, right? You're very much like into a healthy aspect of your life. Then as a Virgo, you are the alchemist, right? You create things, you, through the 6th house, the number 6, the hexagram, a very powerful number. And as such, then you really know and understand that the 2 triangles that are interlacing are the hexagram or the Star of David, right? Back to the last reading, we had, again, like I said, Taurus Sun giving Virgo Moon the light, and here the message was find your roots and know that your self-worth gets tested. And here's the devil, right? And here is this burning girl, and we see the devil that is actually attaching you to certain energies, to a certain career, to a certain amount of money. And so finding your roots and also knowing what your self-worth is made of is really important there. And so today we're going to look into the inner wise healing pharmacy. We have 309 different healing modalities, and this is connected with Venus, right? Like I said, Venus is here, this beautiful planet that brings love and beauty to us. And so we're gonna pick a card and see what kind of healing modality is coming to you. The 144. So the 1 is the magician, which is also connected to Mercury. And the 44 is a portal, right? The 4, 2 times the 4 is the Emperor, and the Emperor is in your card, the 9. And so 2 times the 4 is very interesting. You get creative in the way you lead people. You use magic to help people and to lead with their new ways, right? And so it's a very interesting combination. Altogether, we get the 9. And the 9 is you. So the 144 is Kalium bromatum. Here we have the salt, specific types of salts, and it's saying, I find my new equilibrium within me. I have the strength to heal myself and to let go of energetic and emotional blockages. So you understand the 144 is the Kalium, right? And Kalium is the healing modality that you can take to create here a new equilibrium deep within you. And so the 9 that is left here is really important that you understand that. So we will look through the reading to this healing power, right? And so we begin the reading to the left because we're going to your new moon. And when we go to the new moon, what is important there to understand is that we go back to ourselves, that we go back deep within. And so the Fool is speaking and brings you the Magician, brings you Mercury, right? And so directly I can put Mercury here above his head because he's the one that is working alchemically here with the 4 elements. He has all 4 elements on his table, but he also has this little cake. I don't know. I checked, right? It's not saying what it is, so I think it's up to you, right? Is it a piece of cloth where there's something underneath, right? And so the Fool, the 1 and the 0 is the 10. A new cycle is beginning. You want to create magic by going deeper within because he's facing the left. And so I think Mercury is letting you know that there is information coming because Uranus is actually the planet connected with the Fool, and that's the new beginning, that's the change, but also sometimes the chaos, right? That comes first, and then of course then the new beginning starts like a new little plant to grow. Then speaks the Magician. The Seer, the 45, is coming, and it's really interesting. It's almost like he's looking over and he's looking over, and they have actually a conversation. And the Seer is in a way the Magician, right? And the 4 is the Emperor, and the 5 again, like I said, is here, these 2 numbers, and the 9 appears when we calculate together. So the Seer appears, the 9 and the 1 becomes a 10, and so we have a 10-10 following each other, and the 10 is the new beginning, like Mercury is telling you, begin new in the way you see things, begin new in the way you see particularly the 4 senses, right? And the 4 elements, because that's what the Magician is working with. And what's really interesting is we have here 2 legs that are like this, and then we have a leg like this, which is quite strange, right? Why would this leg be like that? Because it just really doesn't make sense, right? And so there is something strange happening with the 4 legs. And again, the 4 is here. Now there's a 4 here as well. And here are 4 legs, 4 elements on the table. So the 4 is, I think, talking to you because the 4 is also here in the Hermit, here Luca Pacioli, that loves to work with numbers, and so do I. Then I wanted to see what is coming up here with the Seer as a clarification. The 5 of Swords is speaking here, and you see that the pentagram is pointing down. Now what's really interesting here as well is that here a sword is pointing down, and here a sword is pointing down as well. So the 2 points of the swords are facing the earth to ground yourself. It's that triangle that's pointing down, which is the element of water. and there is a bee inside, right? And it's really interesting because the bees work very hard, but the Five of Swords is like something is buzzing in your head. You are somehow not really happy because the Five of Swords is kind of like fighting, is kind of like being not really happy, right? Because it's connected with the constellation Venus in Aquarius. And Venus, like I said, comes here through Taurus to you, right? And the healing came here to find your equilibrium deep within you. And so the 10 and the 5 is the 15, which is Capricorn. And Capricorn is the attachment to work, to money, to social status, or to be cut off so much from life that you are only working. And then the 6 is left from the 15, and the 6 means then the lovers, Gemini, next month, right? Love yourself and start seeing that you cannot only work, you also need to enjoy yourself. You need to particularly enjoy the time with yourself. And so the 6 is speaking here quite clear. Then we have the High Priestess talking, and the 6 of Swords are coming. So you have 5 swords here as a clarification, something you see that here is something talking to you right in your mind, and you're letting go of a certain type of thinking which is fighting over something that doesn't make sense. Fighting with other people, right, is being like learning your own shadow side, learning to be a little bit more positive in the way you think. But the 6 and the 5 is the 11. And the 11 is, again, the master number of the wisdom that comes by understanding. The more you learn, the more you understand how you can overcome such thoughts, that you understand that in your subconscious those thoughts have been implemented by your family, by relatives, right? And so the liberation is coming here. But with the High Priestess, the 6 and the 2 is an 8, and the 8 is that infinite number that is letting you know infinitely we're learning, infinitely we're coming in this life to learn again and again how all of this is functioning. And in a way we have a 6-6 here, right? The 6 was left here, and so we have a 6-6 portal, and also the 8, right? Up to the heavens, up to the duality, up to your intuition, using your intuition, because here the 6 of Swords is Mercury in Aquarius. So you have Venus in Aquarius, which is Venus through Taurus, and you have Mercury in Aquarius, which is here you, right, in the moon. And so the message is very strong, very clear. The message is coming, the information is coming about love, about beauty, and about money. And yet you're learning to combine these two and become a master, so you not become too dependent on anything. Very important, particularly about your own type of thinking. Study and learn how to get yourself out of this type of thinking, right? Kind of like being a prisoner, like the bee in between these swords, right? Cannot work. And I do want to know what that means, right? Sometimes I'm checking what they mean, and sometimes I just feel the picture. But here I do want to know what the 5 of Swords here is saying upright. A yellow jacket has landed and is surrounded by swords. Upright. She is in a negative pattern or downward spiral and needs not to panic. Instead, she can figure out how the pattern or story is created and look for ways to change it. Much of her energy is drained off into fear of getting stung or wanting to get back at someone. So there is quite a negative energy. And like I said, 2 swords are pointing down. That's the duality, right? And then 1 sword is pointing up. This sword is pointing up there. And this sword is pointing to the left. So in a way, there is the solution, right? Going deeper within, learning deeper to understand that you need to know Who is the seer? And that's you. You seeing this deep inside of your third eye. That's what the 6 is. The 6 is the third eye, is the inner eye. Then speaks the Empress. And the Empress brings you Aquarius. And so it's really interesting, right? You had here the 11 swords, and you had Venus and Mercury in Aquarius, and now Aquarius is appearing. Aquarius is the new age. Aquarius is the new technology. Aquarius are the new communities that are being formed, seeing new types of healing modalities, validate them, right, and not putting them down anymore. And so the 17 plus the 3 is the 20. It's your calling to now adapt to new societies, to new way of dealing with each other, because she gives both the water to the water and the water to the earth. She's already concerned in how to nourish all. And so that's what the 17 is. The 17 becomes an 8. And here comes the infinite again with the 3 and the 11. Again, the 11 is always that inner teacher, right? So you can either get an 11 here, or you get, of course, a 20, the calling, the last judgment, the calling. It's almost like God is calling you, or you feel the 11, the inner teacher, is calling you and letting you know, become wise, become clever, understand how this card is calling you as an Aquarian age. And we go into the Aquarian age because Pluto, the planet of transformation, is going for 20 years, and 20 came here into Aquarius. So here it is. So there is going to come new types of technologies, new things that we need to consider, and it's important that we really understand that. Then speaks Taurus, right? And Taurus brings you the 10 of Cups. And the 10 of Cups is actually bringing you a hope. Mars in Pisces, right? And Mars is a moment where we recognize that there is negativity out into the world, but if you take action in the Cups, then there is a really beautiful happiness happening here, right, in the 10 of Cups, because this kind of happiness is letting you know you made it. You really have arrived, right? And the 10 and the 5 is again the 15, which is Capricorn, the attachment, and the 6 is love, the self-love. And so the sun is literally saying, shine here like a rainbow, have all these cups up in the sky. You have arrived in a very beautiful way. And that way needs to preserved, right? Needs to be seen, needs to be understood. And we had that 15 here, right? Where we had here the Magician plus the 9, the 10, and the 5 was the 15, and the 6 was left. And the 6 is again the hexagram, remember? Then speaks the Caballero de Oros, right? The Knight of Pentacles. And here we get the King of Swords, which is Aquarius. And Aquarius again is an 11. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times now the 1, or 3 times the 11. Understand that the one and only energy is important, that one sword that is pointing up. And we see now the sword that is pointing over into the 10 of Cups. It's almost saying, focus on this, right? Know that duality is always happening. Know that we can also go up, and we can also go up here. But also know that this sword is pointing to the left, is pointing to the soul, is pointing to learn more, pointing to the 10 here, right? And so you understand that a big message is coming here. And that we had not only 6 times the 1, but we had here a 10, and that's also a 1, and you have a 1 in here. So the 1 comes quite often, right? And you had a 1 here in the Aquarius, right? And the 7 is the emotional intelligence, to know what it is that you're doing, to know that you are a master in the way you think, right? Because you had 11 swords. And so here he comes, and he's literally showing you that he's leading the way deeper within to the new moon, and that you can help, and that you can trust him, and that you be guided by him. So here's a date, the 6th of November, or we have the 11th of June, right? You decide which date suits you and speaks to you the most. Then speaks Virgo, and you got the moon, right? I have 2 decks, and so I shuffle, of course, the whole deck, but I still have the positionings. And here we have the 18 and the 9. The 18 turns into 9, 18, 9 is left, right? So you are left. You understand it's your opposite sign, that's Pisces, and you understand that the moon phases are very, very clear because it's coming up on the moon. It's very like a routine, and this routine is really good for you. It's a routine that helps you not to get attached to anything, because you can see that the moon goes every 2.5 days into a new sign, and that's when I do the reading. Today the moon is in your sign, and so I can feel you. I feel every sign through my subconscious, and the subconscious is a very important place. It's huge, right? That's where we have our feelings, that's where we have stored energies. And so the 9 is here, and in that 9 you recognizing now that you are learning really that astrology is affecting us. And I see with the cards, the tarot, the astrology is in it, right? Then speaks again the moon as the subconscious, as the dream oracle. Here we have the overflow, the overwhelm, and the plenty, the 43. So the 9 and the 7 calculated here together, we have the Empress and the Emperor coming together here in the overflow. It's almost like the masculine and feminine. When they come together, it's like there it grows and flows. And so the 9 and the 7 is the 16, and the 16 is the Tower, is Mars. And understand that certain things need to go, so that things flow again, and that you have what you need, right? And you see you got the moon. The moon really came up, and so now the moon is showing you, yes, you will see here, things are overflowing again, because I wanted to see what's coming here. And we get the Ace of Pentacles, and so the 7 and the 1 is an 8, right? And now the 9 and the 8 is the 17, is Aquarius that came here, you giving birth to a new era, to a new community, to a new type of zeitgeist, right? And you see that then the money will also go out, right? You will make new money, spiritual money. And the 8 here is left, and the 8 is again that infinite knowledge that usually the magician has above his head, right? Here this magician doesn't have an 8 above his head, but always the 8 is deep above him, right? And he knows how to use it. And so you understand that here is a clear message coming to you, right? Then speaks the Sun, and the Sun, of course, which is in Taurus, has brought you the 10 of Cups. We get the North, and the one and only cup you need. The 10 cups and the 1 is 11. Again, you have an 11, right? Understand also here on the moon, we had the moon coming up through Virgo, right? Remember, even though the moon card was leading you here, this card, but it's really beautiful because it shows you that, yes, here the emotional intelligence is left, right? The 8 and the 7 is the 16, and then in the 16 we have again the self-love and the magician, or the wheel of fortune, right? However you feel like seeing that. And so the 1 and the 19, which is a 10, right? Again, an 11 appears here as well. So the 11 is a strong number. It's a portal. It's the portal of wisdom, of knowledge, and that's why you want to learn. That's why you don't want to fight. You want to learn. You want to have these 11 swords together and learn everything there is that is coming through the Aquarian age to you, the King of Swords, and the major arcana, right? Here we have Aquarius. So Aquarius is affecting you very strongly. So listen to it and let yourself be guided. And what came up here as a clarification, the world is coming. And so the world is yours, right? With the 11 and the 3. So it's the 3rd of November or the 11th of March as a date. And the world needs guidance, needs the light. And Taurus is leading right now the aspects, right? There is a big conjunction happening on Saturday. And it's really important to feel that Taurus is bringing you quite an important message. Ground yourself and see that you can create magic, because here clearly the world is dancing and is enjoying and is leading the path back in also to yourself here in this dimension, right? And then we have on the world, right? The world as the 21, the Emperor. And so here the world, the 21 turns into a 3, and the 3 and the 4 again is of course the 7, and that's the overflow that has come here through the moon, through the subconscious. There's an overflow, there is the 7, and the 7 is the emotional intelligence, is the crown chakra, and then you can rule. And look where he's looking at. It's like he's looking at the magician and he's like, yes, I want to rule this world. I want to be a magician. I am an emperor and I do magic, right? And so she is looking at him. She's literally saying, yes, I will be now healing, and knowing that I healed is the moment that you understand that you have arrived, right? That the world is not imprisoning you. The world is actually dancing. And the world is always something that is strange, but also fascinating. We learn through the world. The world is Saturn, the planet of the finger, the father that says, don't do this, watching over us, right? Because we can get hurt in this world, but also we learn the most here in this world. And so the closing is coming, right? The emotional intelligence is important for you to have. Then here the 10. The 10, the new beginning, the 1 and the 0, the magician and the fool, doing something crazy and seeing what you're seeing, knowing that you can lead, knowing that you have the 4 and the 5, you can lead as a spiritual leader. And then also have here the 11, right? The 9/11. And so the 9/11 was a very important date for the States, right? When the World Trade Center came down. And so the empirical type of thinking needs to have an emotional intelligence for it to be able to continue to be the one and only energy that leads this world, right? Leads the world out to a new paradigm, to a new age, the age of Aquarius. I hope I see you in the next reading, because that's when we have the Sun in Gemini. And we had the 6 of Swords, right? So understand the 6 is Gemini, and we will see what's going on with your mind, with those 11 swords. Until then, I thank you so much for being with me. Namaste.